Hi, I'm so happy you're here. Welcome to the Let's Keep Moving with Risha podcast. This is Risha. I'm a motivational speaker, content creator, and I love talking about things that will help you keep moving in your life, especially in areas like your overall life, mental health, love, growth, and everything in between. If you're ready, let's keep moving. It feels so good to be back at this like kind of setup again. Kasi I know that I've been keeping a promise with all of you, with you before, pero madalas hindi ako nagso-show up next every week or every next week. Pero ngayon, I'm so happy that I'm here again and I'm showing up together with you. So, one of the most surprising questions that I've received from my Instagram account and from my social media accounts is what is my parents' reaction on my naked truths or my series called Naked Truth. So, a little bit background about that Naked Truth. So, it's an inspiration from one of my favorite book. Actually, it's my favorite book. It ends with us. So, it's called there's this term called Naked Truths there, and I just copied it and called it my Naked Truths. It's Risha's Naked Truths. It means it's something so personal to me. It's my daily reflection talaga and my daily journal. So, I think one of the first few episodes ko or series ko ng Naked Truths was all about my parents. So, parang sinabi ko doon na our parents, it's their first time living life too. And it's also hard for them. Like kung nahihirapan tayo ngayon, can we just stop and imagine how pressured they also are, na how they are also having a hard time dealing with life. So, you just have to accept people as they are. So, that was the what the Naked Truths was all about basically. And nagulat ako, I was really surprised nung may nagtanong na ano daw ba yung reaction ng parents ko doon sa Naked Truths ko na yon. I'll answer that later, but I just wanna let you guys know first who am I as a daughter and as a sister, even before content creation, even before podcasting. So, I've always had a hard time opening up with my parents. I am a typical Filipina daughter. Ganong level. Kasi, hindi naman normal ang mag-open up sa parents. I lived in a very traditional family. Hindi normal na mag-open up ng problema ng tungkol sa parents nila. And I must tell you, I had my first boyfriend and now my boyfriend of 6 years nang hindi nila alam. And ganong level, hindi ako nag-open up kasi feeling ko taboo sa family. And hindi lang yon ang mga bagay na hindi ko ino-open up sa kanila. I'm an only child for 9 years. So, 9 years yung gap namin ng sister ko. And like what I said, traditional ang family ko. Not open to drama, but full of drama. Ano pa ba? It's traditional in a sense that crying is a form of weakness sa aking family. And basically, we're not very expressive of our emotions. And when a family is not expressive of their emotions, or when the parents itself is not expressive of their emotions sa family, they're not open to crying, they're not vulnerable, they're not opening up problems with everybody, then higher chances, there's like a huge chance na ganun din yung magiging children nila. My story on today's episode is so interesting kasi I think this is the first time I'll be telling this. I don't know. Pero sa dami ko nang naikwento, hindi ko na alam kung first time ba to or what. Pero I think this will really inspire you to be more open to your parents. Kasi I'm like everybody else. Like, hindi talaga ako open sa parents ko. And worse pa sa inaakala ng iba. Kasi I remember back in high school and even elementary, I can see my classmates, even during high school, na super open sila sa parents nila. And sometimes, may ick eh. Like, may kirot eh kapag nare-realize mo na open sila sa parents nila and ikaw hindi. So, what I want everybody to know is that it took me so much work to be able to freely open up myself with my parents. And it just happened like maybe 2 years ago or a year ago. Kaya sabi ko, if there is this one person na kaedad nyo lang, na makakapag-tell sa inyo ng story to how to open up to your parents, it's this person. It's like, it's literally me. Like my friend, it's this person. Kasi what most people do not know is that when I started content creation, my parents did not know I was doing content. Like imagine, 1 year? 1 year nilang hindi alam na nagko-content ako. Nalaman pa nila sa mga bumibili sa tindahan namin, nalaman pa nila sa kapitbahay namin na nagti-TikTok ako, na nag-IG ako. And when I told you that it took me so much work to be able to freely open up the work I'm doing with my parents, it really took me so much work and so much money. Nag-attend ako ng retreat sa Manila, sa Davao, so that I have nothing to hide to my parents. And last year lang, hindi ko talaga ino-open up yung sarili ko sa possibilities of sharing my reels on Facebook. Kasi ang tao, lahat nasa Facebook. 'Di ba? Parang kahit anong edad nasa Facebook, lahat may Facebook. So, if I will share my reels there, tendency is, makikita yan ng parents ko, makikita ng lahat ng relatives ko, and that's the last thing I want. So sabi ko, nah, Facebook is not for me. But I have to also open up myself for a lot of possibilities and opportunities through Facebook. Kasi malaki yung reach niya. And I will also get paid out of sharing reels there. Reels that have long been posted on Instagram. So, sabi nga 'di ba, socially intelligent people are people who do not feel embarrassed when they post and they knew that their parents, their relatives, their classmates, their bosses would know about it. So, binabasa ko yun sa book ni Miss Brianna Wiest and na-realize ko na okay, siguro hindi pa ako socially intelligent enough to have the courage talaga to freely share the work I'm doing with my family, with my relatives. Pero yun nga, it took me a lot of retreats. It took me a couple of retreats last year, 2023, to finally open myself up with my parents. So, nag-start lang October 2021, ako nag-share ng mga reels sa Facebook. And doon na nila nakikita na nagpo-post ako ng stuff about what I do, about mental health. And here's the thing. Ngayon, I would say, everything is working out so well. Like, so well. I just remember that my mama would send me to an event for my talk and minsan makikinig siya. And I think above all of my achievements, I think that's the most priceless one. Nung nag-Miss Universe Philippines Personality Development Day speaker ako, yung mama ko pa yung naghatid and she was listening the entire time and I was talking about mental health, trauma, how I have always had a hard time opening up with my family, with my mental health and all that, and she was there and I think that's the best feeling. And I'm here, since we're already talking about this, I'm here to share some tips on how you can be more open with your parents starting from this day on. So if you're ready, then let's keep moving. Frankly, these are the things that I personally tried. Pero gusto ko lang din kayo bigyan ng heads up na before I even tried this, I have so much hatred on my parents for not understanding me, for not seeing me, for not being able to see through my creativity, my talent. And I held so much anger and frustration and tampo na tumagal siya ng maraming taon. And I did retreats. I fully released everything sa retreat ko sa Manila and sa Davao. So, before you even think that this thing would solve everything, think again. Kasi sometimes, it's not a one-size-fits-all journey. There's no such thing as like that. It could also give you an opportunity to explore retreats and explore that side of healing. Pero you can also up to some of these steps. And these are the steps talaga that actually worked for me. And hopefully, it could work for you. So starting off with the first one, spend time with them. I really wanted to remind my generation, specifically you, that your parents do not bite. They do not bite. And even if they do, they are still your parents. And di man sila expressive talaga sa emotions nila, pero love ka nila. Kailangan pa ba ako magsabi nun sa'yo? Pero I for sure, you've read that from somewhere. You've heard it from somewhere. Your parents do love you. And I mean that. And they mean it. It's a generic truth, but it's time we start accepting it. And when we start genuinely accepting the fact that our parents love us, it's also the time we open ourselves for healing. I think kasi in denial pa din tayo na di tayo mahal ng parents natin. Kasi ganito sila, kasi lagi silang galit, kasi mabunganga sila, kasi di nila binili yung gusto natin, kasi di nila tayo binili ng ganyan, kasi di nila tayo pinag-aral sa ganon, kasi ganito yung treatment nila with others. Well, it somehow happens, sometimes happens. For some people, it happens most of the time. Pero baka this time, pwede ka nang sumama sa dinner nila. Baka pwedeng sumama ka na habang nanonood sila ng TV. Baka kaya hindi ka makapag-open kasi in the first place, you are not making an effort then on your end. Baka kaya hindi ka makapag-open kasi you are also not making an effort on your end. And this setup doesn't work for everyone. I just wanna be clear about that. Like what I told you, there is no one-size-fits-all solution or journey. Baka yung iba naman sa inyo, they're already trying, they already did their part, ginawa na talaga nila yung best nila, ginawa na talaga nila yung effort on their end. Pero wala may parents talaga na hindi talaga kaya yung ganun. Like, hindi talaga expressive, hindi talaga sila yung favorite, hindi talaga sila accept. Pero, let's just start from somewhere. Let's start from where we can start. And, honestly, the more time you spend with your parents, with someone, the more comfortable you become with them. And this familiarity can really help you reduce that feeling of awkwardness and uneasiness because you already know what to expect. But my friend, what I want you to know is that spending time with your parents, of course, it doesn't work for everybody. In my podcast, I'd always like to balance the possible decisions for you, the possible guide for you. Kasi I know that there's no such thing as a one advice fits all stuff. There's no such thing as like that. Iba't iba tayo ng sitwasyon. It really, really depends upon the situation. Kaya I get it when people comment on my reels na it depends on the situation. It depends on this and that. Of course! Like, I don't know your story. No one knows it but you. So you do you. You do what makes you happy. You do what makes you uncomfortable for now but happy in the end. You do you. Kasi if it's not working for you, then it's not the advice for you. But what I'm saying is, you have to start from somewhere. You have to start from doing something. Para in the end, wala kang regret on your end kasi ginawa mo lahat. And that's what I'm telling with the first advice. Try spending time with them. Alam ko masyadong generic yung advice ko. But this is what I did. It's time that when they call you for dinner, stop what you're doing and join them for dinner. When they invite you for church, free your Sunday and come with them. When they invite you to come over, stop or do whatever you need to do and go with them. Sa akin, on my end, I had to go out of my way para sabayan sila mag-dinner. Kahit it's already out of my eating time. Kasi sometimes it's beyond 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. But I had to do it because I know na yung simpleng dinner, when it is happening every single night, it could mean a lot. And it can really improve our relationship. So, it could be dinner for you. And it can also not be dinner for you. But what's working for you? What are the things that you can do to kind of improve your relationship then with your parents? Next is, when you have spent enough time with them, it's also good if you're open to being vulnerable. Show them that you are comfortable with you crying. Show them that it's okay to cry by crying. Like basically, this is what I did. The more you show you're awkward around them, the more they feel like you expressing your emotions is wrong. Kasi baka hindi talaga nila alam. Baka syempre, it's not possible and it's not reasonable during their time. Kasi back in their time, all they had to think was about the food that they're going to eat. Or how are they going to survive the next few days? Or how are they going to go to school? They do not think about how we felt. It is not something considered back in their time. So give them a little grace, give them a little understanding, for they do not know any better. At least before. But right now, baka kailangan na ikaw yung mag-start ng something. When I told you that it took me a lot of work to be this open to my parents, I mean that, and I just proved that recently. I've been having some relationship issues, I think, last month, and wala talaga akong gana kumain. And it's the first time that I've ever felt like that. Like, niluluwa talaga ng sikmura ko yung kakainin ko. So, habang kumakain kami, bigla akong tinanong ng mama ko kung ano bang problema daw, kung anong nangyari. And at that time, I started crying, and I do not care anymore. I just started crying. And it was the first time that I felt accepted. It was the first time that it was okay to cry. It was the first time that it's okay to feel whatever I wanted to feel, even in front of the dinner. And ngayon naiisip ko, ito na yung result ng work na ginawa ko sa sarili ko. Ito na yung result ng mga retreats ko. Ito na yung result, ito na yung ROI ko. Like literally, madalas kasi kailangan din nating ipakita sa parents natin na okay lang maging mahina, okay lang sumuko, okay lang magpahinga, okay lang umiyak, okay lang magalit. Kasi they were also told growing up that it wasn't right. They were also told growing up that it was a mistake crying, that it was a mistake to express your emotions, that it was a mistake expressing what you feel, it was a mistake showing people you're tired. Back in their time, they were scolded for crying, they were scolded for asking their needs, they were scolded for having fun. So from there, I just want you to start from there. Your parents went through a lot as well. They went through a lot then. And while it's not a valid reason for them to hurt you and do the same, let's cut them a little slack for behaving, for acting that way. But yeah, truth is, my heart goes to all the kids who were never understood no matter what they do. It's hard. You know, I've heard stories like this before and I'm not new to it. And even up until now, there are still a lot of kids who are not heard. There are a lot of kids who are abused. There are a lot of kids who are verbally abused. And it's so hard when you can't move freely at home. And I felt that. Feeling mo na to judge ka every time. But I think we really have to do something about it. And it starts with you. Like, it really does starts with you. Before we continue, if you're currently finding value in this podcast episode, I truly appreciate it if you can give me a 5-star rating here on Spotify, because that will really, really mean a lot to me. Your ratings and reviews will help us reach more people and continue delivering meaningful content. I mean, that's the goal, to bring more people and talk about all things mental health. Aside from spending time with them, aside from being open to being vulnerable, which I know is very hard, like kagaya na sabi ko, it takes so much work. It will really take so much work. You know, you did not experience all those through the years to only fix it in a day or in a week. Sometimes it will also take years. So honor that experience, honor that journey, and trust that everything will be all right. And magugulat ka na lang, okay na lahat. But the last thing that I would love to give emphasis on is let your parents know even if they're not asking. Let them know even if they don't ask. Tell them exactly what happened to your day. Tell them who you met at school today. Tell them what's the best thing that you did today, or what's the best thing that ever happened to you today. Tell them what you are excited about. Tell them what you are looking forward to. Tell them what you're up to. Tell them your frustrations. Most of them, in reality, are all willing to listen. It's just that we're not doing the work on our end. And of course, like what I told you, my heart goes to all kids who are not being hurt, no matter what they do. Na kahit gawin nila to, kahit mag-share sila, hindi talaga sila pakikinggan. But like what I told you nga, we have to start from somewhere. we have to do something about it. And relating to this story, may nabasa akong comment sa Facebook, sa post ko. Kasi recently lang din ako nag-share ng podcast clips and behind the scenes sa podcast ko. And this is the first time that I'm doing this consistently, itong video podcast weekly. He told me my podcast was pointless. And it kind of hurt me, of course. But then I realized that, yes, maybe some of my arguments do not work for everybody else. And it's not realistic. And some of it might be out of your league. But that's why I'm here. I want to inspire everybody to not be victims of our situations. Kasi wala namang magandang maidudulot kung forever na lang nating kinakawawa yung sarili natin. Kung forever na lang nating iisipin na kawawa tayo, na ang mundo ay against us, na yung mga bagay na nangyayari outside is meant to destroy us. I understand na iba-iba tayo ng family. I understand na iba-iba tayo ng beliefs and practices. But nothing happens if we're just going to be a victim. If isisisi natin lahat sa parents natin, walang mangyayari. It's time that we grow up. It's time that we step back, look at the overall situation. Where is this hate, this anger, this abuse coming from? Kasi we're a grown-up already. Maging go-getter tayo. Let's make things done. Let's do something about it. If our parents don't know how to parent you, teach them how you want to be parented. Like, what if itry mo lang i-communicate din yung needs mo? Itry mo lang na i-communicate yung kailangan at gusto mo. Kasi baka you're not meeting each other halfway. Kasi baka your parents are already doing and giving everything. It's just that it's not the way you wanted to be loved. So if you know better now, say something about how you wanted to be loved. Say something about how you want to be parented. Kasi baka that's the only step for you to move forward. Baka that's the only step you can improve your relationship with your parents. We live in a world where we expect the people around us to show us how we should be loved. Even if we haven't communicated it yet how we wanted to be loved. We live in a world where we expect the people around us to show us how we should be loved. Even if we haven't communicated yet how we wanted to be loved. I understand na hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon matutugunan yon. I understand na hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon open ang both parties, ikaw at ang parents mo, to make the change or to make a difference. But at least we asked. At least we made the conscious effort to do something about it. It's painful to be living our lives wondering, what if nagtry akong mag-reach out? What if I tried spending time with them? What if I tried being vulnerable? What if I tried being just me and letting them know what am I experiencing with my life? I know it doesn't always happen that way. I know not every family stories turned out to be good and turned out to be amazing and incredible and inspiring, but I want you to know that it's still possible. It's possible to transform your pain into your power, to turn the mistreatment to your boundaries, and to turn all of your wants into wisdom. Like, it is all happening for the greater good, even the worst things. Before we finally end this episode, I'd just like you to know that it took me a long time to realize this, but I want you to know that you did not disappoint your parents. Maybe your parents just had high expectations of you, but us as their children, we grew in all directions eh. Iba-iba tayo. And it wasn't your fault that your parents were not prepared to grow with you. It was not your fault. Accept that just like you, they're also overwhelmed. Accept that just like you, they were also clueless. Accept that just like you, they're also confused. Maybe it's their first time having you, and even if not, they have their own internal struggles that they do not tell the world about. That's about it, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I know that this topic is very somehow personal sa akin and personal sa'yo. But thank you so much for choosing this. You could have been somewhere else. You could have chosen a different episode, but you chose this. So thank you for your time. And just like all the other episodes, I want you to know that I'm curious to know your insight. For this episode's Q&A, what do you think is the reason why you're not open to your parents? Like, it could be a general thing, it could be a one word. What do you think? What is the reason why you're not that open with your parents? And of course, we're going to also use the poll section. If you can only pick one from what we talked about, what can you start doing today to be more open to your parents? Kasi this podcast is not merely to give concepts and theories and advices to you. It's meant to make a difference on your life. It's meant to push you a little bit para mag-take action ka dun sa mga issues and mga problems mo. So, if you are to choose one lang today, what would be that? You can also share your favorite takeaways on social media. And please, don't forget to tag me on stories, especially sa stories, at Risha Marceliana. I'd be very willing and would be so much grateful if ma-share ko yon sa stories ko din. Because your feedback and thoughts and whatever you want to share is very invaluable to me. And I can't wait to see what really resonated with you for today's episode. Again, this has been your host and your friend Risha. Know that I am grateful for you. I have always been. And I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you big time. And I know that starting from now on, you would do something to improve your relationship with your parents. Like starting today. I'll see you next week, specifically next Monday. Huwag kang mawawala because I'll definitely miss you. Don't forget to always keep moving. Bye!